high-tech oils, available from Auto One, Sprint Auto Parts, and all leading independent auto stores.
Weighing in at just 550 kilos and producing 200 horsepower from its 2-litre 4-cylinder engine, it's no surprise that Formula 3 are Australia's fastest racing cars. But to get the best out of these cars, you need good aerodynamics, as McDonald's Gilmore Racing's John Collins explains.
Aerodynamics is how the wind flows over the chassis of the car and obviously over the wings. The rear wing obviously acts as rear downforce, and the rear wing also creates drag. So we have to find a good balance between not too much drag, but just enough aero that we can maximise our cornering speed.
Just like any other setting on these cars, the front and rear wings are also adjustable depending on the driver's style and the nature of the circuit.
It's adjusted on the side, so we've got quite a few different holes on the adjuster plate, and each hole represents 1 degree. We generally don't make too many drastic changes. It all comes down to the track that you're at. So we've got our high downforce settings here at Winton, so we've got our bigger rear wing and our bigger front wing flaps as well.
So how important are aerodynamics on an F3 car?
That is how these cars make their speed. If they didn't have wings on them, they wouldn't be the quickest cars in the country. So the way we extract the speed out of these cars at all the circuits around the country is through the downforce.
Some fascinating stuff from one of the most experienced guys in the Australian Formula 3 Championship field, John Collins, talking about the crucial aerodynamics that play a big role in Australian F3 racing and open wheel racing all the way around the world. We're getting set for round 3 of the championship this weekend. Here at Winton Motor Raceway, Ricky Capo leads by 10 points coming into the weekend, but there's plenty on the line at a circuit so vastly different, Matt Nolte, from what we saw at Phillip Island. Before we have a look at highlights of race 2, let's have a look at what happened in race 1. John Collins just edged out Ricky Capo for the victory. A very, very close affair between the two of them. Trent Shevington finished in 3rd. The top 4 was reversed for this one, and it was exciting right from the start.
Yeah, especially from the second row for Ricky Capo, who took the race lead down here into turn 1. So he swung through here, though, the margin just short. Watch what happens when he gets down to turn 1 here.
The shock cover on the front of his F3 11 Dallara flies off. An amazing piece of vision coming your way as well as drivers took evasive action. Now this was the start, and when you make a good start, often the stewards will look at it to see if it was too good, and they judged that Ricky was slightly rolling at the start and would cop a post-race 5-second penalty, which made John Collins' life all the more easier, as you'll see. And that's the shock cover just flying off. It's a pretty lightweight piece of fiberglass, but it flew a very long way, and Luke Spalding just clipped it on his way through.
Very, very lucky indeed as the battle here for second with John Collins in the McDonald's Gilmore entry went down the inside there at the sharp hairpin at the top of Winton.
Good move on cold tyres, and from there it was a case of managing the gap for John Collins. He knew that Capo had a 5-second penalty. He just needed to make sure he finished within that margin at the line, and he would have been granted the race victory. Capo crossed the line first, John Collins across the line in second. With the penalty was enough to give him back-to-back wins at Winton Motor Raceway.
It was so much so, those guys were trading fastest laps. They both went under James Winslow's record from 2011, but John Collins would get the nod in the end.
I saw out of the corner of my eye, Capo just jumped the start a bit, so just got told then that he got a 5-second penalty. So, in all honesty, he was quicker, but you know, a win's a win, I guess. So we'll take it, and we'll just work on that start for the 3rd race.
Well, they were split by 0.05 of a second in qualifying. They traded lap records in race 2. They've won 1 round each of the championship. It's an amazing fight between John Collins and Ricky Capo for this year's Australian Formula 3 Championship. We're away in the feature race at Winton. This one pays more points than all the others. This is the important one. This is the one they desperately want to win, and it's a great start from John Collins.
That's a brilliant start there for the front rows, who right on board, looking back from the McDonald's Gilmore entry. So they swing through turn 3. Overcast conditions here today at Winton Motor Raceway. They need to settle in. It's a long, long race ahead.
Great onboard pictures on the Replay XD HD cameras on all of these cars as they fire through that amazing turn 5 sweeper. We We saw at the top of the show that John Collins was telling us about the aerodynamics on these cars in the most recent round of the championship at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit, where they take all the wing out of the car, try and maximise the straight line speed. Here it's the complete reverse. They wind wing into it. They want downforce, they want mid-corner grip, and it's not so much of a worry about straight line speed. So two completely different engineering challenges for these teams to work on. And McDonald's Gilmore Racing have done a super job with John Collins' car, but Capo's been so fast and so competitive. He's right in the mix and starting to apply some pressure at the end of the opening lap in that Jonah King Racing Dallara.
Oh, no!
No, he's gone! Off, out into the undergrowth. Big sideways moment. Was lucky, in hindsight, not to spin the car. The damage could have been worse.
Very lucky. You could see that happening a mile back as riding stalled the Setnage entry and just got it going again. That's hard to do.
Just pop the clutch and the thing stalled, and you get a couple of bites at the cherry to get the thing fired up before you run out of battery. And this is Capo, just cold tyres, and it looked pretty innocuous, didn't it? A few little mistakes this weekend have given John Collins a slight advantage. This is on board with Nathan Kumar in the Artec Motorsport car, F3 rookie. And just learning and gaining experience at every round. This is riding a sports sedan racer who switched to wings and slicks this year, working his way through. Good pass.
One of two cars running in the national class this weekend as they come past the famous Gumtree section of the circuit. Winton Motor Raceway, been around for a long time on the tour.
It's a difficult part of the racetrack for these cars too, Matt, because they're not aero corners, so the cars aren't producing a lot of grip. And even though they've got slicks, cold track conditions here, they'll start their tyre pressures as low as they can to get them up to temperature early. But these cars can be very difficult to drive through the slow speed stuff, like we see there, with just a bit of a moment for Spalding out braking himself into turn 12 and running off. Luckily, there's a bit of an escape road there. Here's a replay.
Yeah, just too hot coming in, wasn't he? Just finds the dirt out there, misses the wall comfortably and takes his position further back in the field, drops a couple of positions. So go back to the battle for second now, heading down into the hairpin. This is Shervington,
who's going really well in the McGale. Car Chris Anthony raced towards the second half of last year's season. Team BRM. And Capo applying the thumb screws now and trying to work his way past.
Been impressed with Shervington this year. As Capo lines him up, not going to do it there.
Nothing wrong with getting that McGale stopped, is there? So McGale v Dallara, but he was a little bit deep into the corner, and that'll allow Capo to have a really good run on the inside, down in towards turn 11, and executes a very nice move. So gets him back up towards where he needs to be to keep John Collins as honest as he can.
Bobby Shervington now. He drops back to third position as Ricky Capo tries to right the wrong he produced earlier on as John Collins continues to lead this race. It's a fairly healthy margin at the moment as he goes through the series of rights and lefts here. The McDonald's Gilmore team have been supportive of Formula 3 for many seasons now in Australia. And John Collins probably in the box seat this year in the championship.
And so important to set the fastest lap in the race as well. And I think Capo might have a shot at doing that now. Fastest lap in every race is worth 1 point. And the way this championship's rocked out over the last couple of years, 1 point is often the margin at the end of a season. So every point counts. They'll be trying to set the fastest lap. Here's Spalding, the bestjet.com car from Gilmore Racing. Big moment at 9, and that'll allow Riding, who's in a championship class car, latest spec car, to what Spalding's driving. He's not going to give up though. Plucky little move down the inside and retakes the spot.
He had the line, but I didn't think he'd have the brakes at the end of that straight.
Well, this is good experience for Luke, just working his way into some battling, because quite often this season he hasn't had a lot of actual wheel-to-wheel racing. Been running on his own, so this is good stuff for him to learn how these cars work in dirty air when you're following that car closely in front of you. And thumbs up from the crew. That's his old man watching on from pit wall. Shervington off the road from a potential podium spot. It's a long way off the road. That must be turn 5, 6, surely.
He's got it fired again. They're going to bring the safety car out though by the look of it. So all that work for Shervington has put him to the back. Here's a replay. So it's going through turn 5 here.
Change of direction, watch. Yeah.
Instantly.
And lucky to keep it off the barriers, though. It's a long way out there to hit anything. But this closes it right up. And John Collins now under massive pressure from Ricky Capo. And away they go, back to racing. But a massive lead all of a sudden condensed. And Collins is now under some serious pressure.
And Capo might have just missed the initial jump then of Collins. And you can't do that on a restart like this.
The cold tyre pace of the Gilmore racing car has been exceptional all weekend too. He's been really good in the opening laps, and that's important at this place as well to get early tyre temp, because that's when you can be left open. With one to go, look at the margin already for John Collins, who has just got the fastest lap currently as well, and I doubt Capo will be able to go quicker than that on the final lap on Cold Kumo. So an extra point, and if my maths are correct, it's going to be very close in the championship after this one between these two. But I think we might have a new leader. Bit of cold tyre graining there on that right rear Kumo from John Collins, but he's managed the margin. This has been a very good drive, and really putting his exclamation point on the championship as we get towards the halfway point of the season.
I was going to say the second off the times they were doing from race 2 earlier today. Nonetheless, the McDonald's Gilmore entry coming around to the final turn, and John Collins is going to make a 2 from 2 here today at Winton Motor Raceway in the Australian Formula 3 Drivers' Championship for 2015. Isn't he pumped about it?
Oh, yes. Wrestles the lead of the championship away from Ricky Capo, and this intense rivalry between the two of them continues. You only need two cars to have a really good championship fight, and we've got that. This is going to go all the way down to the wire. Collins beats Capo, riding to third, and a great job on the podium. Luke Spalding, well done. He wins the Formula 3 National Class.
He stalled off the start. It's not really the good way to start the race. But yeah, ran as hard as I could and was able to catch up. The safety car got me back to the rest of the guys, so I was able to fight from there. So I couldn't have asked for any more.
We know we have good pace compared to John, and I'm very excited to look forward to the next race now. And we've got a bag full of points, so eyes on the future now.
It's a good feeling, especially after way back at round 1 with the DNF. So we've been playing catch up ever since then, but the last 2 rounds have been faultless. I mean, the guys at McDonald's Gilmore Racing have given me the car to be able to produce the results. So it's been awesome, and can't wait to the next round.
Well, how does the championship look? There's the answer. 1 point and a new leader after 3 rounds. Collins in front of Capo by 1, with Shane riding in third place.
We said it's going to be down to those two guys, and it sets the scene for the next round of the championship, where we head to Sydney Motorsport Park for the next round of the Australian Drivers' Championship for Formula 3 here as part of the Shannons Nationals. Check out thenationals.com.au for more information. Stay with us, because coming up after the break, we head north to Willowbank Raceway in Queensland and the 48th Fuchs Winter Nationals, featuring the Summit Racing Equipment Sportsman Series.